Hi everyone, welcome to 2016 Audi R8 LMS Cup, and now it is race 2 of the whole year. We are now at Shanghai International Circuit. So let's review this morning's race 1. In the morning, very young driver Martin Rump started from pole position and finished as number 1 of race 1. And in the afternoon, what are the highlights? In the afternoon, we have the pole position Rahel Frey, and with number 2 Marchi Lee. I think these two are going to have a more fierce competition in the afternoon. And the number 3 and 4 young drivers Martin Rump and Alessia Picarello, they are going to be very competitive against more experienced drivers. And for the first 2 drivers, they all have weight ballast. And we know as the TU champion winner, Alex Young of the Cup, he will start from number 5. So stay tuned. And let's enjoy race 2 and guess who will be the winner in the afternoon.
Hello everyone and welcome again to the Shanghai Audi International Circuit, wherever you may be, whether you're watching around the world on satellite or global internet streaming. We are here for another cracking race with Martin Rump winning his maiden victory earlier on this morning in the first race of the new season, and we are just moments away from a standing start. The first race this morning was a rolling start, now we've got a standing start, and we've got a new grid as well with Rahel Frey being on the front row. I'm here with Sean, and he was pretty excited this morning watching some cracking action.
Absolutely, it was cracking action. The new car, new faces, the young guys against some of the established stars. One thing that we need to celebrate here and get out in the open before we even start is 50th race start. So you've seen most of those as the seasons have gone on, but amazing to be at this milestone in the series. Before we get things underway, let's take a good look at the Shanghai International Circuit with Rahel Frey.
The track fits me quite well. The track, Shanghai, has a really aggressive asphalt. It means you have a lot of grip, and when you feel this grip, especially with the new tires, it's really, you have to drive really precisely on the point, and this is what I can do. I have quite some experience on it. I remember 2 years ago, 2013, I had my first win here in Shanghai. What I remember was that I definitely had a good speed, but the best thing was when being on top on Podium, I saw my mechanic Eddie down with some tears in his eyes. This was the best feeling of getting the win, because we worked so hard together the whole season, and at the final in Shanghai we made it. You have corners where you have to do hard braking, but all the middle part, it's 3rd or 4th gear corners, so quite quick corners where you have to use the aero. Because there, in these middle quick corners, the aerodynamic is working quite well. So it means you have to carry a lot of speed in these corners, you have to carry the speed through these corners. You have to feel the car, you have to feel the tires. It's not about hard braking, it's not about being aggressive on the steering, it's just about feel what the car needs, what the tire needs. My favorite part is turn 1, because there it's in 4th gear, you have to carry a lot of speed in. It's always nice. I really like the 4th, 3rd, 5th gear corners, so the fast corners. And we have a nice middle part again, a quick left-hander followed by a quick right-hander. So you get into a rhythm, and I like when a track has a rhythm.
And Rahel is the best person to listen to because she is pole sitter for race 2 in her green Castrol Racing Team car. She'll be on the number 66, and alongside her, as you can see, the green car's on the right hand side. In P2 will be the Marchi Camouflage car, so that's your front row. So let's just take a look and see where they'll be going with Sean.
5.451 kilometres, the Shanghai International Circuit, first opened in 2004. Formula One designed circuit, so a good mix of testing high-speed corners, tight corners. The turn 1, 2, 3 complex is particularly difficult and makes it very interesting through to the start of the race. down to turn 6 with an extended part of the circuit. This is the full Formula 1 circuit this weekend for the Audi R8 LMS Cup. Down to turn 9 and 10. A good run out of 10 sets you up for the second sector of the circuit. 12, 13, long straight, nearly 1.2 kilometres on the run down to turn 14. Bit of a kink out of 15, through turn 16, and we're across the line. That completes a lap of Shanghai International Circuit.
So we're just getting ready. The cars are just forming up on the grid. So let's go down to Rene Koenberg, Director, Audi Sport Customer Racing Asia.
Hi Renee, welcome to the show again. And as we know, this morning we already see the potential from the young talents. And so this afternoon there are going to be another fabulous and special race for all of us.
Yes, absolutely. I think, there will be a very, very special race. And especially, actually, I just looked it up, the R8 LMS Cup is now 5 years old. And this is the 50th race. So it's actually, we are history. You are making history here in a way. And history also did that we changed and we have service teams on board. And you saw actually how good it was in the first race. That on the podium, you had all the 3 services teams, like KCMG was there, and we had Absolute Racing and Phoenix Asia. So it really, really heated up the competition between the different teams. But also you saw that our young drivers are performing fabulously, and I was putting my money onto Martin. So let's see what is happening this race. Obviously they have some ballast now, but I think our strategy has worked out with the different service teams. And it's great to stand here, on the anniversary 50 years or 50th race is great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see those 2 young drivers, how they push harder behind the 2 experienced drivers. And now it's our time to cross over to our commentators.
Thank you, Sophie. And as we're getting ready, just give you an idea of how they're going to be starting. On the front row, Rahel Frey will be P1, Marchely P2, row 2. Well, you got Martin Rump P3, and then there was a bit of a bromance between Alessio Picarello and Alex Jung in race 1, so it'll be interesting to see how their friendship progresses in this race, with Frankie Chen in P6. Then row 4 is Jan Kissel and Aditya Patel, as you can see, and then row 5 is Yuichi Nakayama with KOU. Row 6 is Jeffrey Lee and Johnson Huang. They are the top amateurs. Row 7 is Sun Jingzhu, Vincent Floriendo. Row 8, the penultimate row in P15, is Sangui Yun and Kevin Chen. And the last row is Mark Chung and Jesper Tong. So,
looks like we're going to catch up with Mark Dreyer. He's down there on the grid with Marchie Lee.
That's right. Now, Marchie, of course, one of the veteran drivers, but you still got it, as you reminded us after that first race. How are you going to make sure that one of the senior drivers, particularly yourself, of course, with that extra weight, 35 kgs, is going to take the victory here instead of one of these young guns?
Yes, I think that is a big question mark in the moment because we never tried the weight on the new car, so I don't know how effective or effect on the car. So that is going to find out soon. So hopefully everything okay. Last year's 35, I think I still can manage to win. I try my best. Let's see.
All right, best of luck. Thank you. Back to you guys upstairs.
thanks, Mark. And the first safety car goes out just to make sure the track is clear. There's a bit of debris. I was watching an earlier race. I think it was the Boss GP. There's massive tyre destruction down the long turn 13-14, so hopefully they've cleared that. That's the reason why the safety car is just going to go out and check the track. All the glitterati are now leaving the grid, and pretty soon we'll be having those cars on their warm-up lap, and then we'll be racing again for race 2. Now, Martin Rump has the 50 kgs, I think.
He does.
Now,
certainly did. Sounds like we have Mark Dreyer down on the grid. He's with Alessio Picarello.
Well, Alessio certainly had an interesting first race. What's the strategy going to be starting from the second row of the grid here?
Well, I don't have really a strategy. I just try to have a good start, and then let's see. We know we have a good pace, so we will just try to avoid trouble, and we'll try to be in front in the beginning.
Good stuff. Hope to see lots more excitement again. Thanks. Back to you guys upstairs.
There's not much strategy for these young guys, really, Graham. It's just go out and go hard. And that, he's trying to be a little bit more eloquent than saying, I'm going to go out and go hard. But at the end of the day, that's what he did. And we saw in the first race. In fact, we have to actually make an update on what happened in that first race. Because remember, you were calling for there was likely to be a stewards meeting and maybe a nice cup of tea between Alessio and perhaps Alex and the stewards. They did have a discussion, and you know what's going on.
Yeah, I think basically they were just told to cool it a little bit, just race clean and fair, and go hard. Well, I think Martin Rump did that to perfection from the red light. He just went straight, gunned it from turn one, and he didn't see any competitor. Okay, March Lee got close, but that was a good strategy for him, just to floor it from flagfall.
We did see some things going on, but it sounds like we have Mark back down on the grid, and he's with Frankie Cheng.
Frankie, a bit of a tough start to the weekend for you, but improvement now from the third row of the grid. What's the strategy here for the second race of the weekend?
Well, you know, Mark, it has been a difficult weekend for me so far. For whatever reasons, and I'm not being on the speed that I should be. And starting from P6, actually it's not great, but it's not so bad. And just try to damage the limitation and try to score as many points as possible. And the championship is long. It's important to finish the race, and we still have a long way to go.
Great, thanks, Frankie. Back to you guys.
Frankie's had a good record around Shanghai. Even before today, he had 5 spins around the track. He's had 1 second and 3 thirds, so he's been on the podium 4 times here in Shanghai. So if he can get in between or get past Alex Young and Picarello, he could pick up third place quite easily, and who knows, go on to better things.
Oh, certainly. It's about putting a championship together. We're talking about Martin Rump doing that. Now, interestingly, earlier in the weekend, these cars have really only just arrived in the last week or so. So they're brand new. They're straight out of the factory, straight here to Shanghai International Circuit for the opening round of the 2016 season. And it's like anything, not all things are made equal. Human beings are involved in the process, and sometimes things are 100%, sometimes they're not quite 100%. If teams have time, they can run the car, make sure everything's right, and it's not about bits missing or bits loose or anything like that. It's just whether or not everything is synced perfectly with the car, and when you haven't had a chance to run it, things can be an issue. Now, Frankie was telling me earlier in the week that his car, Rahel Frey's car and Aditya Patel's car, obviously identical, but they could compare data, and both Aditya and Frankie were struggling a little bit towards the end of the top 10, and the pace setter for the first few days of unofficial testing was Rahel Frey. They were doing exactly the same things. They were braking with the same pressure at the same point on the data at the same race line, but yet she could carry more speed through the corner. They were having to pull their cars up even more, and what they lost in that, and they thought maybe it's a brake pressure issue, could be an ABS style issue that they just need to find an adjustment for, that was slowing them down. So it's not that Frankie suddenly can't drive. If you put him in Rahel's car, you might find he's the one sitting on the front row of the grid. So it's just a level of frustration that they haven't had the time. And of course, they're racing drivers. They want to be at the front of the field.
And also, one thing you've got to watch is the couple of cars behind the black car on row 2 of, that's the one, number 6, Alessio Picarello, and the one behind the number 1 car, Alex Young. They don't have any ballast, so they, off the grid, should be able to perform better than Martin Rump, Rahel Frey and March Lee. So it's all boiling up to be a fantastic start to race 2. The 3 cars in front there, Rahel Frey has ballast, March Lee and also Martin Rump. Rahel Frey's got 20, March Lee's got 35, and Martin Rump has 50 kgs. So they're going to be heavier off a standing start, which then gives the advantage to P4 Alessio Picarello in the black car and in the number 1 TIDA racing team car, Alex Young. So those 2 drivers want to have a very good start and try and get past a couple of cars as they come out of the yin-yang section here, going on to turns 4 and 5.
We did see that last year, and we surmised a number of times last year with those cars that carried that success parity penalty weight that they may have somewhat of a disadvantage off the standing start. And the reality is they have a greater mass that they need to start moving. It made a difference, but the difference you'd have to say was negligible. So maybe it's not quite the advantage. Maybe it's a psychological advantage, but getting off the line here quickly is going to be interesting. Now these guys got a hand clutch. It was a foot clutch last year from memory. Hand clutch this year is another thing that they need to deal with when they get off the line, but the systems have been tested. They've had a chance to test it. We didn't see any dramas last year with cars getting off the line. Of course, this is the Generation 2 car. There's only 5 of the Generation 1 cars in this field. Of course, they're racing for the Masters Trophy, but they haven't had a great chance to do the standing start. Now, the one that will take advantage of this is Yuichi Nakayama. We saw him in the first race, started off the front row. He's an open wheel driver. He's used to standing starts. He's not used to a rolling start, and he got absolutely destroyed off the start in that first race, dropping back as far as about 8th. Then got caught up, had a spin, finished the race 10th, yet he started on the front row, not far behind his KCMG teammate. Frustration. This time might be a chance for him to make up some of that off the start. Be very interesting to watch, see who gets the advantage, and see who can hold station, who can find a gap, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they all get through the turns 1, 2, 3 complex safely.
So if you're new and you just switched on to the Audi R8 LMS Cup, this is 13 laps from a standing start, and we have 30 minutes just in case there's a safety car. There's a 30-minute limit, but this should go 13 laps. So Rahel Frey just brings the train of cars, the new generation of the Audi R8 LMS Cup cars. They look absolutely superb, and we're going to be, well, if it's a repeat of the first race, there's going to be some great action and some terrific excitement, as now they just come through the final turn, and they're just basically going to line up into a standing start. Rahel Frey is on the first row from Marchili. Martin Rump has that handicap of 50 kgs, so that is really going to make him suffer a little bit. From P4, Alessio Picarello and Alex Young. So they're just gradually setting with Mark Chung and Jasper Tong. And look how Rahel's lined up. Rahel is obviously going to have a very attacking manoeuvre here. She's not going to go straight, that's for sure. So let's just see what happens there. Is Marchili going to actually try and get past Rahel Frey? The way Rahel's parked the car, it's at an angle. So this could be very interesting from the start. The green flag is waved, which means the grid is set. We have a 5-second board up. The engines rev up. The lights are on. And it's race time already, and someone's jumped the start. We'll have to see about that. But Rahel Frey is away in the Audi R8 LMS Cup, new generation of motorsport in Asia. As they go around into turn 1, it is still Rahel Frey in the lead. It looks like Martin Rump there has got into second place. Alex Young's now on the fly to third. From Alex Young, there's Alessio Picarello. So that's a great move there by Martin Rump. But Rahel Frey, she controls the speed and she goes through into turn number 4.
That was a good start by Alex Young. He did actually make up a position there, so he's jumped into second. Rahel Frey, very aggressive move off the line, but gee, it got a little bit tight. What was Young doing? He was halfway down the front straight before the lights had gone out. Anyway, that's a new thing for him, so he has that experience to take on board now. No doubt there'll be a quite hefty penalty as a result of that. But up front though, Rahel Frey is doing what she needs to do to just try and get away from these two guys behind her. She knows Alex Young's coming, and we saw once the leaders had that advantage early in the opening race, they managed to stretch away from the pack behind them. The thing Marchie Lee's got to be mindful of is he doesn't want to get caught up fighting with the guys behind him. And it looks like it's Alessio's already up to position number 5. So look, this looks like a repeat of the opening race. Alessio will be wondering what he's done to deserve this, and he's going to take the position away down to turn number 11. That's a good move, but Marchie's going to try and go around the outside in the carousel. That's not going to work so well. This is going to ruin both of them for the long run down the straight. Alessio's taking the position back, but Marchie is going to come under fire now. That looks like Frankie Cheng is closing up on the tail of the Bathing Ape car, so a little bit more to go, but certainly at the front, as Rahel Frey's done a brilliant job to get away.
So Marchili not giving up any hope here. Alessio Picarello's there. Marchili is currently trying to get back his 4th place, and it's still Rahel Frey in the lead from Martin Rump. Alessio is still ahead of Marchili there in P4 for the battle of P4 and P5, so they come across the line. 1 lap down, there's 12 to go. Rahel Frey is leading Martin Rump by probably, well, let's just see. We'll have to wait for our timing. But you can see that not too far between himself and Alex Young. There's a gap now between Young and Alessio Picarello. And after Picarello, you've got Marchi Lee.
It's getting interesting, and exactly what Marchi Lee didn't want to have happen has just occurred. He's come under fire from Picarello, and he's now got Frankie Cheng, one of his long-time rivals, right behind. In fact, Frankie is going to drive alongside Marchi Lee and Alex and Sean Tong next weekend at the Nürburgring. Their second run together. They finished just outside the top 10 last year in a field of something like 160 cars in a 24-hour race. This year they've got more experience with the car, and they're hoping for a top 10, so we'll see how that plays out. That's next weekend. But certainly up the front, Rahel Frey is doing exactly what she needs to do. Martin Rump's got a little bit closer. It's a second now separating positions 1 through 3, but it's now over 2 seconds back to 4th place, Alessio Picarello.
Now, Alex Young is in prime position. He is currently 3rd. The two in front of him, Martin Rump and Rahel Frey, have got that extra weight. So as they come into the carousel, Rahel Frey's leading from Martin Rump, Alex Young. There's about 0.9 of a second between them. Then there's Alessio Picarello from March Lee. Frankie Chen is 6th. Aditya Patel is P7. Yuichi Nakayama is 8th. Jan Cassel from Poland is 9th. KOU is 10th. Johnson Huang is in 11th. Rick Yun, well, he's 12th at the moment, but he may have to go and explain how he jumped that start. 13th, Jeffrey Lee. 14th, Vincent Floriendo. And 15th, there is Jing Zhu Sun.
Yes, it looks like Alex is in the box seat, and we were only talking earlier, 5 wins at Shanghai out of the, 15 starts now that has happened for the Cup at the Shanghai International Circuit, and he's well versed at running at the front of the field and getting a result here. The reigning champion, he's looking for points too, 4th in the opening race, no weight, he's sitting, you'd say in the box, and Rick Yoon's in it again. That's contact. That's down at turn 14. The bonnet's blown up on the Phoenix racing car. Looks like a little bit of fluid damage there too. So he wants to be careful, keep an eye on the gauges, make sure the temperatures are not too high. As now, coming through turn 3, Alex Young closes onto the tail of Martin Rump. But Martin Rump too has closed. Oh, that's a big contact. He wants to be careful coming into pit lane. He doesn't do more damage than he's already got. So frustration for him. And certainly he'll remember that jump start, and so will we. It was very interesting. But Marchi Lee under fire now. Frankie Cheng immediately behind him. Aditya Patel immediately behind him. And that's the first of the KCMG cars, which is likely to be Yuichi Nakayama, the young former All-Japan F3 champion from 2013. And that's Rick Yoon into pit lane.
That looks a bit terminal. The radiator's been reorganised, so Rick Yun is out of the race. As they go up to the carousel, I think Alex Young is playing a very good game here. He's just trying to conserve his tyres for one late push in the final stage. He's got 11 laps to go. There's no point pushing Martin Rump and Rahel Frey and burn your tyres off because they've got the bigger weight. So just relax for the middle stages. Make sure you know where their braking points are, where there's good overtaking points, and later on in the race turn up the boost a bit and just breeze past because they've got extra weight in their car, so it's easier to overtake. Alessio Picarello, well, he's got Alex Young in his sights, and Marchi Lee with that extra baggage, well, he's fending off Frankie Chen and Aditya Patel, and he's doing mighty well because with the extra weight you'd think that Frankie and Aditya could get past him, but he's managed to hold them off for about 3 laps now.
Picarello is doing a great job. He's pulled in 4/10 the previous lap, and he's taking even more now. There's a big move. Frankie Cheng on the outside there of Marchi Lee coming onto the front straight. So too Alex Young. This is going to make his move up the inside of Martin Rump. Now will Rump try and defend the position and hang on the outside? There's no room around there, and Alex Young knows that only too well. Closes in now onto the rear of Rahel Frey. And whilst all of this is happening, look who's closing in on the tail now of Martin Rump, the second of the youngsters that we saw debut here at the close of the 2015 season. Alessio Picarello, he's closed right in on Martin Rump. So it's a 4-way battle now for the lead, and Alex Young will know exactly what young Alessio's got under the hood and just how talented he is. So he'd be keen to catch onto the tail of Rahel Frey, get around in front of her and open up a little bit of a buffer for the closing stages of this race, because as you just said, you're very right, Graham, they're carrying this extra weight and those cars will suffer a little bit more on tyre wear. So let's just see what Alessio has as he closes in now onto the tail of the champion car.
And Alessio knows that he needs to get in front of Martin Rump, because if Alex manages to get past Rahel Frey, that means that that Alessio has 2 cars in front of him that are slower, which could then mean that Alex could just like open up a bit of daylight leading, and it could all be over fairly soon. So let's see what Alex does down the boulevard of broken dreams. Can he slipstream Rahel Frey and get past Rahel on this lap? It's only the 4th lap, so he can still take it easy. It's not the last throw of the dice. And here comes Alessio, just having a look at Martin Rump. Frankie Chen's actually got in front of Marchi Lee, so Frankie could be trying to get into this train of 4 cars as well. And then in P6, I think that's Aditya Patel, and I also think Yuichi Nakayama's got past Marchi Lee as well. So as they go past, we'll look out of our commentary box, and it is Rahel Frey in the lead from Alex Young, Martin Rump, Alessio Picarello. Then it is Frankie Chen, Aditya Patel, Yuichi Nakayama, and Marchi Lee's dropped down to 8th place, with Jan Cassel 9th, KOU in 10th. That's your top 10.
Yeah, Marchi Lee's suffering a little bit there. He got caught, he got swamped, and then once you start to get into that tight pack, again, tyre issues are a bit of a concern, as in you don't want to fight too much and tear up your tyres to defend that position. You might be better off just allowing people to make the move and take it back a little bit later in the race. Let them burn their tyres up. As now, Picarello takes the move up the inside of Rump. Rump moved over, saw him coming, knew he had extra pace. He may too be trying to conserve tyres, but with that additional 50 kilo success parity penalty, he has a little bit more mass that he has to move around in the champion car. So the young Absolute Racing driver through into position number 3. And the next one in front of him he will be looking for is Alex Young, who interestingly coming out of the carousel last time around was a little bit squirrely. It's an Australian term, I'll explain it. It's just looked like he got a little bit loose, a little bit of oversteer, and that won't be good for him either, because that too will start to burn up tyres. So far, Rahel Frey, she's had a victory here. Her first victory in the Cup came at Shanghai International Circuit. She knows how to get around this circuit quite quickly, one of the most experienced drivers in the Cup. She's had an awful lot of starts over the years, 29 in fact, but for Alex Young and Marchi Lee, they're up to 47 starts in the series. They've only ever missed 2 races, so looks like we've got Mark Dreyer down in pit lane. He'll fill us in with some of the action from down there.
Well, just had a quick word with Rick Yoon after he came into the pits. He said he had a braking issue, made contact with Jeffrey Lee, so Jeffrey perhaps has some damage. We don't know at this stage, something to keep an eye on perhaps, but there was discussion about perhaps a jump start at the front you were discussing there. I don't think it matters anymore at this point, does it? Back to you guys.
Thanks, Mark. So back on to the cars, and Rahel Frey still leads from Alex Young and Alessio Picarello, followed by Martin Rump. There's no change down the order of the field. It's still Frankie Chen from Aditya Patel, Yuichi Nakayama, Marchi Lee in P8, and Jan Cassel and KOU now are still 9 and 10. So really the main narrative of this race is, can Alessio Picarello get closer to Alex Young, and then can these two get past Rahel Frey? Now Rahel has more weight than the other two, so time will tell. They've got 8 laps to get past Rahel Frey, and if they both get past Rahel Frey, then really the win is just between Alex Young and Alessio Picarello.
Jeffrey Lee, interestingly, just looking at the timing monitor, has disappeared from the board, so we don't believe he's in pit lane, but he may well be suffering. Now, these cars have a lot of very exciting and aggressive aerodynamic aids on them. You can see the back of the car there. All that louvering and venting has got to do with airflow. So any damage and any change to the rear diffuser is what the rear of the car, the underside of the rear of the car is. They've got a completely flat floor, comes out into a rear diffuser which directs the air, helps the downforce. If any of that gets damaged, that can have a huge impact on lap speed. and it appears that Jeffrey Lee may have some damage because he's certainly not registered in the top 15 of this field. So they want to be very careful. We talk about them banging doors, and it's okay to bang doors. There's not too much damage you can do when you hit square on sideways. But the corners, the front of these cars, if you look at Rahel Frey's bottom corners above the front diffuser, which leads to the flat floor, we see a passing move there. No, that's Marchie Lee a little bit further back than we're expecting. He's really battling with that extra weight. And the Bathing Ape car, one of the most beautiful cars in the field, under fire there from Jan Kisiel and KOU, who took a big advantage in the opening race of some of the fighting that was going on in front of him. So you've got to be very careful not to bump the cars. The front of them, as you can see, the dive planes there, which assist the turn-in and the downforce, especially on high-speed corners like this. You damage that, you have a big disadvantage, and that's probably exactly what Jeffrey Lee is suffering a little bit further back in the field.
Rahel still on the pace here. So her best time was the last lap. She did a 2:05.155, but Alessio Picarello has done the best time so far in this race. That was on his second lap of 2:05.038. So they're all pitting, well, they're all going around about 2:05.1 to 2:05.5, the front three, so it's still close. But Rahel Frey, she's got the right pace with her car. She seems to put some bit of daylight between herself and Alex Young. And Alessio Picarello there tried to go around the outside of Alex Young. Let's just see what happened as they come into view, and Picarello's done it. Alessio Picarello is now second from Alex Young in third. So here comes Rahel Frey, there's Alessio Picarello, and there's Alex Young in third, so that's a great move there. I'll be interested to see what Alessio's lap time is for this race as they come through the carousel. So Alessio goes past the double champion Alex Young, but Rahel Frey has really put on the afterburners, and she has got some daylight between herself and second place Alessio Picarello.
And for how long? He's really opened up a huge gap already on Alex Young in relative terms. He's breached that gap now to the leader. She's taken advantage of the passing move. Obviously that had Alex and Alessio on the not so ideal race line. That gave her that opportunity to jump ahead, because really her lap times aren't that much quicker. Now what's going to happen with these guys? Alex may do what he did in the first race, know that he's got some guys in front of him that he may not be able to keep touch with. He's got a pack coming behind him. You can see Martin Rump still back there, and behind him Frankie Cheng is looking to try and break into the top five. Well, he's in fifth currently, but trying to break into a position on the podium. He will be mindful of the fact that they are coming. We still have 6 laps to go. So it's still very much about tyre conservation. Now I asked Martin Rump after the first race, was he conserving tyres mid-race? He kind of admitted tongue-in-cheek that he was just hanging on and going as quick as he could, but he said, yeah, look, one of the things I was mindful of was that there was potential of attacks from behind. He said, I pressed really hard and used the tyres up a little bit in the early part of the race, and then just tried to defend because I could see that Marchie and Rahel were coming, and I had enough just to keep them at bay at the end. Now we're talking about tearing the tyres up. It's not as dramatic as it sounds. These Control S9L Michelin slick tyres have good tyre life. They take a real hammering when you consider there's 1,250 odd kilograms throwing around at some fairly high Gs at speeds of up to 280 kilometres per hour on this circuit. They're going to cop a bit of a hiding. They get high temperature loads in them too, high weight loads in G-force loadings in corners. All those things will tend to wear the tyre down. Brand new to a used tyre could be as much as a couple of seconds. So in that couple of seconds, those drivers will want to make sure they can maximise the performance of the tyre. Traditionally, that comes early in the tyre life, but modern tyres are so good now that they don't tend to do what we call drop-off, lose pace with the tyre life, until right to the very end of a race. So you can plan that. You don't want to put too much heat into the tyres. You want to brake in a nice straight line, take a lot of speed off, turn in, accelerate again. If you can do that and just focus on keeping the tyre temperatures at a controllable level, you will have something in the kitty for when the pressure comes, so you can fire and get away from that challenge.
And Rahel Frey, she's got more weight than Alessio Picarello, but on lap 7 she was faster. She did a 2:04.95 against Alessio Picarello's 2:05.01. So even though she's got more weight, she is faster than Alessio Picarello, and that is quality driving. That is a top-class driver in action fending off and even increasing the gap between herself and the next competitor. That is probably her drive of the day so far. So there's 8 laps in the books as we've got now, I think it's Frankie Chen hard and fast on Martin Rump. Martin Rump, of course, has got that extra 50 kgs from winning round 1. So Frankie must like his chances to get into P4. And then he's a long way behind Alex Young. But maybe Alex is thinking about the championship and trying to build points for the long term. Of course, we've got other rounds to come. We'll be going to Thailand, Malaysia, Korea, Taiwan, and we're back here on the weekend of the 4th and 5th to crown the 2016 champion.
Spent a little bit of time with Frankie Cheng at the local go-kart just over the back of the circuit here a couple of days before this event. It was in the rain. He knew there was rain coming with the Audi, and he said there's nothing better to keep yourself race fit than a go-kart. He was out there having a grand old time on slick tyres in the drizzle. It was great to see him throw the kart around and really big smile on his face. So he said, I'm primed, I'm ready, I just want to go racing. And a lot of frustration, as we alluded to earlier in the program, from both he and teammate Aditya Patel, that they couldn't quite find what we call a sweet spot with the car, which is the fact that they've had it for basically a couple of days before they've put it on track. So he will be very keen to try and make the most of this, take that position away from Martin Rump and add to his points tally. Of course, he missed the championship last year, much to his great frustration, right here at Shanghai by 1 single point to Alex Young. So we're looking to try and make amends for that. Now Johnson Huang a little bit further back in the field, holding down position number 11. Jan Kisiel, the young Audi TT Cup inaugural champion last year in Europe. He is immediately ahead of him, but Johnson Huang is currently leading the AM Cup. Jingzhu Sun is in position number 12, immediately behind him is in position number 2. And it's good to see Jasper Tong, 16 years of age, in his very first race meeting with Audi. The youngest driver to have ever competed in the Cup, holding down position number 13. And last time round, a 2:10 dead, but his best lap at 2:09.8. So that's not bad for a young guy who's not long been out of go-karts, got himself into a Formula car, and now here he is at Shanghai, behind the wheel of an Audi R8.
Not long out of go-karts and not long out of shorts. 16 years old. What were you doing when you were 16? I was still playing with Ataris and Pac-Man. This guy's driving a top-class car.
I was dreaming about driving a top-class car, but it never unfortunately eventuated. But great to see that this series allows that kind of depth of talent to come in and learn the cars. And they are very user-friendly cars. These may look like serious race cars, and they are serious race cars, but the one thing that Audi has factored into this customer racing program is that they need to be user-friendly for a gentleman or an amateur class driver. And Jasper Tong's showing that right now.
I'm glad you said when you were 16 you dream of cars. But there you go. Anyhow, back to the racing. And it is still Martin Rump trying to fend off Frankie Chen for P4 and 5. It looks like Rahel Frey has got a 1.5 second lead over Alessio Picarello. And Alex Young, I think, is just happy with 3rd place at the moment. He is probably thinking about Buriram, where it's very sticky, a very hard track. So if he just goes in with the minimum weight, he could have very, very good 2 races in Buriram. So that's probably the reason why he's holding off at the moment. Don't forget, Buriram is the weekend of July 23rd and 24th. But Rahel Frey, she's not going to give this up quite easily. The gap was 1.56. It is now 1.15. So Alessio Picarello, with that dead weight in front of him, he's sensing that he can get close enough for one last gamble, possibly on the last lap. There's 3 to go in this Audi R8 LMS Cup Race 2.
I'm not sure Rahel Frey would like being called a dead weight. It's a bit harsh. No, he's certainly doing a very good job. I don't know that he's strategic enough to think, oh, I'm thinking about Buriram. These young guys, they don't think about that. I just want to win. I don't care. I'm not real worried about the tyres. I'm not real worried about a strategy. I just want to get in front of the car in front of me. That's the thing I'm focusing on. But Rahel Frey, she admits she's been there too. Now, very cagey competitor. She knows exactly what she needs to do. Very calculating. We saw that a lot over the last couple of seasons. Again, an experienced campaigner in the Cup. and she won't give this up easily, and she's overdue for a win. Of course, she took one last year, and she'll be very keen to have another this time around. Now that's car 7, which is, I think that's, no, that's actually Jeffrey Lee. So there you see the damage to the rear of his car where Rick Yun hit him down at turn 14. And that may be Jasper Tong immediately behind him. Now, Jasper could do worse than follow somebody as experienced as Jeffrey Lee around the circuit. Jeffrey's done a lot of miles around this circuit, as he has around many of them in Asia, and was an integral part of the program that got us to Pen Bay last year for the very first time in Taiwan. I don't think there's anybody in pit lane this weekend who's not looking forward to that event, because that was an absolute screamer.
So we know that a lot of people are also following the AM Cup, so just to remind you at the moment that Johnson Huang is in the lead in the amateurs from Sun Jingzhu, and the 7 car of Jeffrey Lee is the last spot on the podium. But it's as you were now, with possibly 2 laps to go, and here comes the passing manoeuvre of Frankie Chen. Is doing it the hard way on the outside, but Martin Rupp's got that covered. Now, can Frankie just slipstream him? There's an extra 50 kgs in Martin Rupp's car. Can he just outbrake him going down into this first turn? It's just not close enough. This is the penultimate lap, so Frankie Chen has to do something very quickly. Rahel Frey still got a 1.1 second lead over Alessio Picarello. Alex Young is at 3.8 seconds behind the front 2. I think he's playing a very good strategy by just picking up the points here and not having excessive weight for the 2 rounds at Buriram in July. And this is the main battle here. Can Frankie Chen get P4? He's got about a lap and a half. Oh, Martin Rupp's just gone wide there, but he manages to keep it going. That is a great manoeuvre.
Not quite sure what he was doing there. Maybe he figured he would need to get a bit more room, but the car actually doesn't look quite well balanced. There's something, maybe he's got a tyre deflating. It seems to be moving around a little bit much compared to Frankie Chen behind him. Now, Frankie will be mindful of that. He'll know that he'll need to make a move on him, and if he makes a move, he'll have to make it stick. Could come down here on the run down to turn 11. No, Martin's got it held, but if he's got any kind of problem, it's going to show up through the carousel. That'll really affect his ability to get the power down coming through here, and on that run down the long back straight. Looks okay now. Some kind of issue. No, he's run a little bit wider perhaps than he might have on a normal lap. But up front, here she is, your good mate, the Swiss Miss. Front of the field still. Alessio's closing in under a second now to the Castrol Audi at the front. She's certainly got good drive out of the ultimate corner, and comes across the line to start the final lap. 1 more lap to go for Rahel Frey, and this could well be the championship points lead. Thank you very much for the 50th race of the Audi R8 LMS Cup.
So here we go. It looks like it's the final lap, although I didn't see the Chinese guys on the pit lane throughout the final lap board, but timing says it's final lap, so we'll stick with this one. And it is still Rahel Frey. Can she fend off Alessio Picarello? He's now 1 second behind Rahel Frey, but I think Rahel Frey, she's won here before. She's had 1 win and 4 podiums here in Shanghai, so she knows how to bring this one home. And I think Alessio Picarello, maybe he's accepted that he's going to get second. Alex Young there is tiptoeing through that turn at turn number 6, so he looks like he's assured a final position on the podium. And Frankie Chen is now in P4 from Martin Rupp. So here is the Castrol Racing Team. Rahel Frey, she's got less than, say, 2.5 kilometres to go.
She's deserved this win. She's been very fast right through practice. Topped a couple of the pre-event sessions we had in official testing. And that was nice to see, and she's really committed, really working the car hard, working with the engineers, getting the balance of the car right. And her experienced engineer, who's come out from Europe, has worked with these cars. He knows them quite well, so he has that advantage. That advantage is filtered down to Rahel. Of course, all these guys share data and details, and she's really put this to bed very, very nicely. Alessio's getting a bit of a masterclass in getting around Shanghai International Circuit from Rahel Frey, but Graham, bring it home. This looks like victory to Rahel Frey.
So here we go. 2 races, 2 different winners on the opening weekend of the Audi R8 LMS Cup. And Rahel Frey, number 66, wins here at the Shanghai Audi International Circuit. Second was Alessio Picarello. Third will be Alex Young as we come out through the final turns here. It looks like Frankie Chen's going to be 4th, Martin Rump's 5th, Aditya Patel 6th, Yuichi Nakayama is 7th, Marchi Lee, well, he had that extra weight that caused him all sorts of problems, P8. P9 is KOU from Jan Kisel from Poland. Now, who's going to win the amateur title? We are just going to be waiting here. And here's Johnson Huang. Johnson Huang is coming through the final turns here. And there's Rahel Frey, the winner from Alessio, who was second. A great drive there by Rahel Frey. That was a superb drive. Johnson Huang's finally finished, so the amateur title is Johnson Huang from Sun Jingzhou. Jeffrey Lee, I think, is going to be 3rd. Just waiting for him to come across the line, and he does so right now. So that's the podium all sorted for the AM Cup. That's Johnson Huang from Absolute Racing with Sun Jingzhou, also Absolute Racing, so they got the 1-2 in the second race here at Shanghai. And third was Team Audi Volkswagen Taiwan's Jeffrey Lee. So just to recap then, Rahel Frey from Castrol Racing Team is the winner from Alessio Picarello, the MGT team by Absolute. And third, Alex Young from Audi TIDA Racing Team. That's your 1, 2, 3, and that is Rahel's second win in the series, and maybe that was the toughest because she had more weight than her competitor from Belgium. So that was a quality drive by Rahel. As like you can see here in Shanghai, it's been very cloudy over the weekend. We've had lots of rain that Martin Rump capitalised on by having a quick lap in the wet to get super pole. That's allowed him to win the first race. And as they come through the pit lane, Rahel Frey is going to park in firme. She's going to be very, very happy. And Alessio Picarello just parks himself in second. And Alex Young will be coming in to park next to them for 3rd place. So just goes to show how competitive this new series is with these new cars. 2 races, 2 winners, and we just can't wait for the next rounds. Of course, we've got a fantastic website which is on the cars there, Audi R8LMScup.com. Throughout the season you can get all the features and news, all the stats that you want from the series. And we are next off on our travels. The circus goes on to Buriram, Thailand, mid-August, that's 13th to 14th. We go to Alex Young's hometown, KL, and we'll be racing at the Sepang International Circuit. September the 24th and 25th, we are in Korea. The weekend of the 15th, 16th, we're in Penbay, Taiwan, and then, as I've said before, we are back here on the weekend of November the 4th and 5th at Shanghai, here to crown the 2016 champion. So we've had a really good weekend with these brand new cars. They've really proven themselves on the track. Good close racing. It's been exciting all the way down to the final lap, and I'm sure Rahel Frey is going to be ecstatic getting her second win in the Audi R8 LMS Cup Series. It must have been fairly hard to fend off cars with less weight, with Alessio Picarello chasing hard. Just remind you that Johnson Huang won the amateur title from Song Jingzhu, and Jeffrey Lee, well, he got a bit of a nudge from Rick Yun, and he managed to bring his damaged car back for 3rd place. But it's all about Rahel Frey. So let's go and see Sophie, and she's with the winner of race 2.
Rahel, sincerely congratulations! You got lots of support here around, and we know it's definitely a lucky circuit for you. So is this the best win you have, especially with the weight in your car?
It's definitely nice just to win a race when we have a new car, so it really makes it special, but the team has made such a great job. All the mechanics, Absolute Racing, got 1st place and 2nd place, so it means that we have really done a great job. My car was just perfect. I was flying. I'm really, really happy.
So happy for you, and enjoy the day. Back
Thanks
to our
very
competitor.
Thank you, Sophie. So a very happy Rahel Frey, and these cars have proven themselves, of course, before around Macau and also in the Sepang 12 hours. The 3 cars there had a perfect 1, 2, 3 for that race, so these are top quality cars proven on the global stage. And now Sophie has the Belgian Alessio Picarello, who finished 2nd.
Alessio is one of the most popular drivers, as well as the new face for the whole season. So do you think the 2nd place still win for you? And talk about your performance in the opening weekend.
Well, for sure I'm happy with this result, as for the team it's 1-2. But Rahel was really fast. I did everything to catch her, but yeah, I could catch up, but the difference was too small. So yeah, I'm happy. A win will be better, but hopefully next time.
Okay, thank you so much. And back to our competitor.
Thank you, Sophie. So Alessio must be pretty happy with his weekend as well. And Alex Young, of course, finished 3rd. He's had a great record here in Sepang as well. He had 5 wins, and now he's hit 10 podiums from his racing in these cars in the Audi R8 LMS Cup. Don't forget, we're also on the social media, so check out Twitter and all the other social media sites, and fairly soon we'll be having the trophy presentations. But it was a great drive by Rahel Frey. She set it up by having the fastest lap in race 1, and Alex Young is just popped off somewhere, so we'll just wait for him to return if he returns. So as I was saying, Rahel Frey, she set up this win by having the fastest lap in race 1. She hit a 2:04.219, and that let her have the pole for this race. And it's a great little series the weekend. The drivers really do have to think about their strategy. So they now have to negotiate the internal bowels of the grandstand to find the trophy presentation. The crowd, we had a good healthy crowd today. They've enjoyed all the action from the series, and we'll also, of course, not only will be having the professional trophy presentation in a couple of minutes, we'll be having the amateur title as well, where Johnson Huang from Absolute Racing will be taking the trophy. And of course there is another trophy, which is the Masters competition, and we'll be having a trophy for that as well. So everyone's just having a little bit of a debrief, just looking at the times and just working out how well they did. as Alex, the double champion. He's obviously thinking about long term, how to build a title defence. First ever double champion. He's going for another championship, which will be a 3-peat. So let's now hear from Alex Young. He's just getting himself together.
Catch up with Alex Young before the podium ceremony, and so talk about, maybe it's too early to say this, maybe the most competitive season in the history. How do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think at every race we go to, the top 10 will be all within a second. So you have to make sure you don't make any mistakes. You know, for us, we had a bad qualifying yesterday, and after that, if I could have just got 20 points for the weekend, I would have been happy. So today, third. Yesterday, first race fourth. So that's 28 points or something. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that.
Thank you so much. And it's our time to back to our commentator.
And just to prove how competitive this series is, we've had 2 podiums. 5 different drivers are filling the podiums this weekend. So the first race result was Martin Rump wins, Marchi Lee second, Rahel Frey third, and in this second race, that's Rahel Frey is the winner, Alessio Picarello was second, Alex Young third. So 5 different drivers are getting onto the podium this weekend, which just shows how good these cars are and how competitive the racing is. So just getting themselves ready for the trophy presentations. Maybe this time they'll spray the champagne. They just get themselves ready, and any minute now we'll be having the trophy presentation. Rahel Frey will be getting her second trophy in her Audi R8 LMS Cup career. And here we go. So Rahel Frey is the winner of the second race, round 2 at the Shanghai Audi International Circuit. And in second place, Alessio Picarello from Belgium. And third there, Alex Young from Malaysia. So now we get to the trophies. gets her second trophy, not only here